Welcome, Dr. Lawrence Fung from Stanford University. It's a real pleasure to have you here on Autism Spa. I've read a lot about your accomplishments and your work with the neurodiversity community. I thought it was really fascinating what you're doing with Stanford. We really wanted to hear from you as to how you're working to improve the lives of the neurodiverse, your book, and the research that Stanford is doing. So please give us a little bit background of what, how you got into neurodiversity work and what you're doing at Stanford right now.
First of all, thank you for inviting Shahriar. It's a pleasure to be here. I got into the field because my son got the diagnosis of autism some 13, 14 years ago, and I decided that I'm going to be doing something that's going to be helpful for him and hopefully someone like him as well. So currently I'm an assistant professor of psychiatry at Stanford. I direct the Stanford Neurodiversity Project as well as the Adult Neurodevelopment Clinic, which is a specialized clinic for adults on the autism spectrum. Currently what we are working on are several fold. The Stanford Neurodiversity Project has several programs. The main purpose of the Stanford Neurodiversity Project is to empower neurodiverse individuals and maximize their potential based on their talents and interests. So along those lines, we are able to, with the support of philanthropy from our Department of Psychiatry as well as Autism Speaks, we are able to have several programs. One program is the Neurodiverse Student Support Program that support our own Stanford students who are neurodiverse. They get support from transitioning to college, from high school, to getting mentors to support their social life, their independent living skills development, to other things that require other organizations in the university, like accommodations and learning, career development. As part of the program, sometimes some individuals would need mental health support. We can also provide mental health support through the Adult Neurodevelopment Clinic. Another major program is the Neurodiversity at Work program. It's a specialized employment program for autistic adults. The main thing that really trigger all of this is because we all know that neurodiverse individuals on the autism spectrum have so much that they can do. Many of them are very talented, but they don't really get the opportunities as much as the neurotypical population. 80% of people on the autism spectrum are unemployed or underemployed, and we want to change that. And by changing that, we recognize that it's not only the job of the neurodiverse individual to figure out their way, or we help them figure out their way. It's also the employer wanting to make the workplace more neurodiversity friendly. So with our Neurodiversity at Work program, we are able to provide support in the entire employment cycle for both the employer and the job seekers. And we're very fortunate that we have good support from various organizations, including our own university. A few months ago, we started a collaboration with Google, and we are building a Neurodiversity at Work program within Google, and very much in collaboration with them. We have trained many managers, a couple hundred managers within Google that will be ready to work with neurodiverse individuals. And very recently we also did a job fair focused on the Google jobs, and we're just marching toward a closer goal of getting some people employed in Google. But within Stanford, we already have helped hire someone on the autism spectrum within School of Medicine, and she's doing quite well, and she's even got promoted from the more temporary position to more of a regular position. And we got people from all sorts of background to be employed in other organizations, like DPR Construction is one, is a construction company. We got a couple of people hired as an intern over there already. And we also got people hired in like animal sanctuary, architecture firm, mental health clinic. I'm probably missing some others, but basically the bottom line is the range is very large. It's not only about like sciences or IT. We are able to get people to fill positions that they are very passionate about, and many of them are not under the typical umbrella that most people are thinking about. Most people are thinking about IT or science.
Right, right. So most of your work seems to be focused on helping more or less the adult population assimilate into the work environment. And it's not necessarily limited to the stereotypical IT or tech support or something that doesn't involve human interaction. Many jobs naturally involve human interaction, and your work and research is geared towards helping those adults kind of transition and get opportunities that they wouldn't ordinarily get. I think it's very typical that people kind of relegate people with autism because of their social challenges, maybe communication challenges, to be dismissed. So you mentioned Google. I've been reading there's a lot of companies that are hiring neurodiverse managers, people that are embedded in the company to actually help cultivate that sector of the population into their workforce. So are you finding other companies other than Google that are receptive to that environment?
Yeah, so SAP, for example, is really one of the front runner. They started the Autism at Work program about 8 years ago and had been like very successful. And Microsoft have also been doing that for maybe 6 years or so, something like that. Another one would be Ernst and Young.
Yeah.
And DXC Technology, which used to be part of Hewlett Packard.
Right.
And also with JP Morgan Chase. JP
Wow.
Morgan Chase have also hired quite a few people. Bank of America also have hired people on the spectrum.
And more do companies come to you for help, or do you reach out to them? How does this public sector, private sector work?
Both. Most of them come to us, the ones that we are working with right now, and there are also some other companies that are that we're kind of introduced to via our network.
Okay.
Sometimes some neurodiverse individuals have specific interests for certain things, and one additional approach that we do that I think very few organizations do is we actually try to tailor that and try to see if the organization that have the opening that would be suitable for a particular individual would be willing to work with us, because our bottom line is we want the workplace to be neurodiversity friendly, so that employment can be sustained and everyone's happier.
Right.
The neurodiverse individual would feel more valued, and it's also consistent with what the company wants to do. So nobody is going to be feeling like they're put into a place that other people may not necessarily agree with everything about how things are being changed, because it does need quite a bit, and maybe even a culture change in
Right.
order to make the workplace really sustainably becoming neurodiversity friendly.
Right. You know, it's interesting. Obviously, decades ago, the Americans with Disabilities Act kind of forced legal mandates on organizations to make physical changes, to make physical changes. But you just mentioned something interesting. Companies are evolving or being kind of encouraged to evolve in a culture change, not necessarily physical, because neurodiverse people may not always need physical help. They need cultural, social communication change in an organization to be receptive to all the contributions they can make
Hmm.
that are just hidden, like all of our kids are, whether they're 2 years old or 40. You never really know what they're capable of until you begin to open up to them. Uh,
Absolutely.
are there any other universities that are doing what Stanford is doing, or is Stanford unique in what it's doing?
Well, there are other universities that are doing like student support program. I think there are probably about 80 other programs around the country that have support with their students on the
Right,
spectrum. And doing something more about employment at our level is relatively rare.
right,
There are some other universities that are interested in doing this in somewhat different approach, like
right,
Vanderbilt, for example. But doing what we are doing in a very comprehensive fashion is, I think, we are probably one of a kind.
right,
In addition to the, our own students and also the companies around us for the employment, we also try to do education. I teach neurodiversity on campus,
mhm,
making our own students more knowledgeable about the neurodiversity, and we also help with the K through 12 level as well.
wow,
We this past actually just 2 weeks for the past 2 weeks before this week, we ran neurodiversity design thinking camp,
mhm,
and we had over 340 students that apply for the camp, and we cannot really take them all. We took 60 of them,
wow,
and using design thinking approach, we teach them how to systematically do a project that will be beneficial for neurodiversity. And I'm very proud of the students. They in within 2 weeks, it's a short period of time, they have something really cool. One group even finished writing a book for little kids to learn about neurodiversity, and
wow,
another group have very elaborate plans on building a neurodiversity celebration week for their own schools,
right,
and some other groups are planning on doing some kind of teacher engagement that can help teach teachers
yeah,
on neurodiversity,
yeah,
and make their education individualized educational plan to be more able to be more strength based.
right,
This is what we are teaching, the design thinking, the strength based model of neurodiversity, and also universal design. So all of these principles are able to really make something that's very much beneficial for neurodiverse individuals in a practical way. We're hoping that these students will continue to work on the projects. It seems like they're very, very enthusiastic, very energetic, and are very, very passionate. So I have high hopes on them.
wow. That's amazing. You mentioned strengths-based. That's catches my attention because it seems like ABA, at least K through 12, is somewhat weakness-based. They focus on what they can't do, and then they measure how many prompts it takes them to do something, and then goes on from there. A lot of experts I talk to are not a big fan of ABA. They are trying to develop, it sounds like what you're doing, new educational programs to teach teachers to kind of broaden the horizon a little bit beyond ABA, focus on what the child can do, and help them achieve whatever measure of success they can, which is different than what sometimes even parents or teachers think their kids should do. When you begin to focus on what the child's capabilities are, you may get different results, right? So, and this program, I assume it's only in the Bay Area, obviously Stanford based. It's not remote, is it?
It's virtual. So
Okay, it is virtual.
actually, among the 60 students, we had about 30, maybe 25 of them are from Southern California,
Okay.
about 15 or so from Northern California, near the Bay Area, and we have another good 15 or so from outside California.
Wow. Okay.
One from Canada and one from the UK.
Okay. And what is the criteria to get in? I mean, obviously, you have to have some standard of ability to excel in this class, right?
Yeah, so we are so fortunate to have a very overwhelming response. We didn't really advertise so much. We already got 340. That's from our experience from the year before. It's the third year that we have run this, and last year we got 350 as well. And applicants, initially we had like 900 inquiries without too much advertising.
Yeah.
So basically, we know that there is a kind of a demand on wanting to get students to think about design thinking
Right.
and neurodiversity and something that is more strength based. So basically, the students walk in with in the application. A lot of them are already showing signs that they are doing this for the good reasons.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need people to want to come to a Stanford camp because it's a good name.
Right.
We want students to want to do this because they care.
Right.
So we read the applications and want to make sure that there's a good reason that they want to come to the camp. And a lot of the time is because they have maybe they themselves are on the spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
or they have ADHD or dyslexia themselves. And about like 20 or so students this year have disclosed their neurodiverse conditions.
Right.
And many of them have family members that have some challenge on
Right.
one way or the other, and some of them have friends, and some of them have already been involved in advocacy work. Some of them already have founded their own clubs, neurodiversity clubs in their own high school. So we basically look for reasons, good reasons, and especially if they're going to be leaders, student leaders for neurodiversity advocacy. That's how we want them. We want as many of them as possible, because what we want to happen is after the 2 weeks with us, they're going to be leading efforts in their own high school.
Wow. Wow. So obviously all these kids are communicative. They're able to communicate verbally, right?
They have to be able to communicate. We so far we haven't got anyone that's non-verbal.
Right.
But I mean, when someone actually can communicate, but non-verbally, maybe through other assistive technologies, I think we are going to be able to accommodate as well, because well, we know everyone have different learning styles, and this is really as close as it gets to really living neurodiversity efficacy.
Wow.
So we want students to accept each other. They work with each other in groups. So there are 6 groups in the 60 students. So every group has about 10 students. It's roughly that. Some groups are a little bit bigger because we let them choose their own groups. so they are really guided by our own Stanford students that we have trained, and they're kind of facilitated in a way that they would be more able to work with people with differences. So
Right.
within the 2 weeks, it's not just about learning what we want them to learn in terms of the materials. It's also their behavior. We want them
Right.
to be able to work together for the right reasons, because they're in the camp because they want to advocate for neurodiversity. So they have to
Right.
live it. They have to show to us.
Right. 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 So, tell me about your book. I see it in the background. Neurodiversity.
Mhm.
Your findings. Tell us, kind of in summary, maybe what your findings are. And I really want people to read it because I think they're going to get smart a little bit about this field.
So I'm very fortunate that we have these 11 chapters in this book. I wrote 4 of them, and many chapters are really about understanding neurodiversity as a way of thinking about the strength-based model.
Mm.
We call it strength-based model of neurodiversity,
Hmm.
and basically it incorporates theories on positive psychology, positive psychiatry, and their developmental perspectives using the seven Chickering's 7 factors of development, and also the Garner's theory of multiple intelligences. So all of these concepts are all like intertwined, and very much what we describe is this is all going to be possible to be implemented in our Stanford Neurodiversity Project. Basically, we use the strength-based model of neurodiversity to build the programs. Then for the students on campus, also to the job seekers and employers, employees. It's all consistent with the strength-based model of neurodiversity, and we talk about all of that at the various settings, various levels, and there's one chapter specifically on autism,
Mm.
and one chapter specifically on ADHD, and another chapter specifically on dyslexia.
Mm.
And there's also discussion on the people that are considered savant,
Hmm.
and very happy to have contribution from our collaborator in Wisconsin, Dr. Darryl Traver, and we're going to miss him. He passed away
No.
while we are finishing up the book, and
Wow.
his colleague Dr. Doyle was able to finish up with the group. So we got a lot of wisdom from the Wisconsin group
Right.
on how to help people with savantism, those with intellectual. So many of them have intellectual disabilities,
Right.
and but they have those savant skills that are just plain remarkable.
Right.
It's really
Right.
amazing. So they know how to work with them, and they put their wisdom, summarize their learnings in one of the chapters. We have Jose Velasco, who is the head of Autism at Work program at SAP. They started the first successful program, specialized employment program for neurodiverse individuals in SAP. So he wrote a chapter on neurodiversity at work, and we also have Dr. Nancy Doyle talking about her experience in students in higher education.
Hmm.
And we also have, I wrote a chapter on the neuroscience of neurodiversity.
Hmm.
Before I got into this work, I still do. In many ways, still consider myself a neuroscientist
Hmm.
and a psychiatrist,
Hmm.
and a lot of what we are seeing can be understood in the neuroscience level as well.
Mm.
And a couple other chapters that very much about the technology and how we think about design for neurodiversity related initiatives.
Wow. Wow. And is it available on Amazon? Is that
Yes, it's
it is?
available in Amazon, available in Barnes and Noble.
Okay. So I will look for obviously Dr. Lawrence Fung, Neurodiversity book on Amazon, and certainly encourage others to in this group to look it up, because all of those things I'm interested in, technology especially, but the transition to the workplace, and really sounds like the strengths-based model is something that should be instituted nationwide. Is it a new model, or I'm just wondering, how do strength-based models like this find themselves into ABA therapy, or is that even possible? Because all parents get right now from insurance and school education system is ABA. They don't get anything beyond what ABA can and cannot do.
Well, I think ABA has is potential on certain things that are about daily living, and for certain people it may actually be working quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think flipping that to think more about streams,
Mm-hmm.
um, it will be a shift, but I'm not an ABA therapist. What I can say is that when you can appreciate someone can be very good at certain things and be able to detect it and find ways to guide the person, there could be some tools that can be easily be transformed
Right.
because of the kind of basic philosophical change.
Right.
So I can't say for sure that people in ABA, the field of ABA, would want to do it. It will be up to them.
Right. Well, like Einstein used to say, if you judge a fish by how well it climbs a tree, you'll think the fish is an idiot. But I'm hopeful that the mainstream therapies that most parents receive in this country, which is ABA based, can evolve to include other supplemental aids to help their child be the best they can be, which in this case, the strengths-based model makes sense to me as a parent. I would love to have that as an option, but most parents don't get those options in those IEP meetings. They just get ABA and prompting and charts and graphs. As you mentioned, once you're a parent and you get the diagnosis at 10 years ago, 13 years ago, 20 years ago, you go through a period of grieving and shock and recovery. Then you begin to think, what can you do? What can you do for your child? And in this case, it sounds like, thank God, you broaden your horizons to include what can you do for this community, not just your child. And I'm very grateful as one parent for everything you've done. I've learned a lot, and I'm going to make sure other parents plug into this and be a part of this evolution that we're trying to cultivate within our kids here. Thank you so much, Dr. Fung, for joining us. I hope you'll come back soon and share more research as your work continues.
Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be here.